Hi, I'm Chris Beukenkamp, and today I'd like to walk you through Thunder's version of our guest console and our contact board. We want to show you some of the technology that we're seeing in hospitality, retail, and manufacturing, and help you understand Thunder's view around how we think about data from a past, present, and future aspect, and how it might be applied to your organization as well. As I share the screen here, we're able to see a basic contact record inside Salesforce. Now, this is a very common view. Everyone should be familiar with this in terms of accounts, contacts, opportunities. And up here, we can see Edward. If we click on Edward, we're going to be brought into our guest console. Now, the guest console is something that Thunder has developed specifically for our hospitality clients, but we've also been using it in retail and manufacturing clients because it gives us an interesting way to think about our data. Let's take a look at some of the past, present, and future columns, sets of information that we're seeing here. On the left-hand side, we can see all types of unified past information about Edward. I say unified is because in hospitality, you have a lot of different back-end systems. Those back-end systems might be dining, they might be golf, they might be spa. They might be up to 60 different systems where his name is recorded as Ed or Eddie or Edward. And we want to bring all of that information together. Now, we're using Salesforce's data cloud to pull all of this information together and to get a total view of what this member is doing and also their loyalty status. So we're able to get a full unified view of what that information looks like. The other thing we're able to get is across their different preferences and maybe different reservations that Edward's done, we're able to understand their special requests and preferences. Here, we're going to be able to notify hospitality upon any check-in from Edward that he likes feather-free pillows to make sure that we have the room ready. We can also see a past history of cases, and this is simply case management inside Salesforce, but those cases allow us to see that, he wants extra towels. He wants extra towels to be able to go to the pool. This allows us to really customize the room ahead of time to make sure it's ready for Edward. Now, in the middle, while most of us will be in San Francisco for Dreamforce, we can see that Edward has a booking at Thunder Bay as a reservation, and we can see what his upcoming booking is and that it is booked. So we understand the status of what's coming on. So that's great. This is what we typically talk about as the present state of information. Now, that past and present state of information allows us to predict the future. So in the future, we're able to look at propensities around what Edward might want to do. So here we can see that private surf lesson is at the top. This is something that might be of interest to Edward. So we'll make sure that anybody that's looking at this guest console can recommend this to Edward if he comes on the property. Now, Edward has decided that he loves this property a lot, and we can actually see that from some of the past check-ins. We can see he was at the main pool 6 days ago, probably as a member of the property. He played golf 4 weeks ago. So Edward loves this property a lot. So he's going to actually go out there and book another trip. Let's take a look at what that trip looks like. Edward comes out to the Thunder Bay website and he decides, yep, I love this property. I want to go ahead and book another trip. I'm going to go ahead and start today, from today to tomorrow. Let's look for some rooms. Sees a couple of rooms, sees the queen room, the king room. This looks great. Let's go ahead and book the king room. And we'll log in as Edward and include his email. Now, we already know that Edward likes to do early check-in and feather-free, but in this case, he wants to get a high floor. So we want to make sure that he wants to be on a high floor. He wants to have that view of the ocean and overlooking the pool. So let's go ahead and get that view registered for Edward. So he goes ahead and submits this, and we see his confirmation details. So he feels good. He's going to go ahead and head over to the hotel since his booking is in line. Now, back at the hotel, if we take a look at the contact record, we're going to notice some new information. We're going to notice that there's a new reservation scheduled for today. And so now we can see that same Dreamforce reservation is still there, but now we also have he's checking in today. And this is great because we're able to see this information. We're also able to see that he has requested a high floor. This is a new preference that's been added to his profile over here. So we see all of this information coming in. One of the other things we can see is that he took some time to schedule some things. So he's coming here to play golf. So he's registered for some golf and he's going to go to dinner after golf. So that's great. We're going to understand a little bit about what Edward's doing on the property today. Another interesting thing is based on his preferences, you're going to see that his predictions have changed. So before we saw that it might have been surf lessons was a good lesson. Now, because of his additional check-in today, the system is actually coming back and saying, let's predict early bird whale watching. So that might be something that we do on the second day of his activity that we could recommend to him. Now, when Edward comes in, we want to be able to check Edward in. So let's go ahead and check him in. We'll come down here and say he is actually on premise and get him checked in. This could happen through a check-in system that might already be on the property, but this could happen through Salesforce integrating with that check-in system. There's a variety of different methods to do that. When we do that, we're updating that he is ready to go. We see that once we checked in, we now see that he is also on premise. So the nice thing is we can see that we have activities because he was able to check in at 8 a.m. in the morning. We're able to see that he now has his golf time that's ready to go. So this is fantastic. We now know Edward is here on the property. But the interesting thing is we know what he's going to do in terms of registrations that he's done. But what we don't know is where he is necessarily navigating around the property. Well, when he navigates around the property, there's a beautiful map of the property, and he could spend time in a variety of different areas. Now, we can see he had that high floor room that he requested, wants to overlook the pool and the water. But one of the things that happens when you're at a hospitality resort is that you're oftentimes using your room number to check in to a variety of different locations. In this case, he could have just checked into the main pool, and now we know his location. Now, this could have been done through his name, through his room number. Oftentimes companies have wristbands, could be done through a contact card or a key card, a lot of different ways. But here, simply, we're able to track that he's at the pool. Later, when he's at the Nautilus restaurant or at the golf or even at the spa, we're able to collect all of these. And what's interesting is these are different moments. These are different moments of engagement that are happening around the property. We're using Salesforce here to collect those present-based moments. These are different than a reservation that might have been recorded. This is something where we're actually able to understand what's happening live in the moment. And that's additional data that sales, service, marketing has not typically had access to. And it provides a great wealth of data to put into a system like Data Cloud to allow us to build segments. Now I can say, show me all the people that are on the property that have visited the main pool in the past 2 days. That's a great set of new information that I've not had access to before. Let's take a look when we go back to Edward and we see his check-ins. Before, we saw that he's been at the Tranquility Spa, but here we saw he was at the main pool 6 days ago, but now we see he was just checking into that main pool a few minutes ago. So that's fantastic. So if anyone's even talking to him there, we can understand what's going on. Well, let's take a look at not just Edward, let's take a look at our contact board in terms of all the different people that might be accessing that. So here we come over to the contact board. Now, the contact board is similar to what we were looking at with the guest console, but we're able to see many different individuals. Now, the green bar up here can have a variety of different meanings. We can use it for things that we need to be alerted on, such as they've been waiting long for a reservation or they've been waiting long for their food. In this case, we're using the green bar to indicate people that are actually on the property. A lot of high-end properties have members, they have guests, they want to understand who those members and guests are. Here we can see our members with a picture, but we can see our guests without a picture. And so we're able to differentiate in that way. We might also want to filter to say, just show me the people that are on the property. And so if I filter that, we do see Edward here as on the property, and we do see that his last location is at the main pool. So with that, I can also see some detailed information about him. So I have these shortcut cards that are allowing me to see quick information about the individuals. And here I can see everything that I was able to see in that unified view around Edward and understand what his activity looks like as well. If I go back to his contact card, you can see that we have him scheduled for a variety of different itineraries. The interesting thing is now everyone can predict what's going on from an early bird whale watching exercise for Edward, and we can start to take that information and move it forward. Now let's take a look at what this might look for a couple of other areas. If this is the area for hospitality, what does this look like for retail? We're going to switch over to the retail application and take a look at our clienteling console. Now let's take a look at what the console might look like for retail and consumer customers. The interesting thing here is we've changed the view a little bit. We no longer have the three columns, but a lot of the same information still applies. One of the key things is we're still using Data Cloud to unify. So here we can see Edward as a retail customer, understanding what his total purchases have been, birth date information, the email that we have as a unified email for him. And we can also understand any kind of upcoming information. So here we can see store appointment details of what's upcoming for him or anything that's happening in the future. Now, on the right-hand side, because this is retail, we want to be very focused around orders. So we're looking at order information. We're looking at his recently ordered items. You can see all the different types of umbrellas that Edward's been purchasing from the Thunder Umbrella Company. And so we're able to see all of this information in one simple view. If we scroll down, we're able to see what our purchase predictions are looking like. So similar to what we saw before, we're seeing that future view, but now around golf umbrellas, beach umbrellas, fashion umbrellas, we can see that a golf umbrella might be the most likely predicted purchase for him in the future. So a similar concept, still focusing on the past, present, and future information, but now geared towards a retail console that allows us to come in and see that one view overarching our entire customer. And of course, all of these are customizable for you. Let's take a look at the manufacturing side as well. Now let's take a look at the manufacturing console. So just like the hospitality console that we saw before, we still have the three columns. We have the past, our past section, our present section, and our future section. So we're seeing a little bit of changes in the layout and how we're looking. Now, instead of looking at an individual contact, we're able to look at an account. This might be an account that someone like Edward Stamos actually works at. So here we can see information about the entire account information being brought together. This is particularly important in B2B scenarios. In the present situation, this is something we get asked for a lot in manufacturing, where we want to understand what should I be having a conversation about in my next meeting? Do I need to understand fulfillment? Do I need to understand when the next order is coming? Do I need to understand what those orders might be that are coming in? Now I'm able to prepare for all of that one-to-one FaceTime with this account that I have in the center. On the future side, we see a couple of similar things that we're already familiar with. We see that propensity around maybe next purchase prediction. So we're able to say, based on their past order history, what else might they want to purchase in the future? So here we can see gaskets or camshafts are an option for this account. One of the interesting things is we're using Einstein account summaries here also to take all of this information, to take the assets, the attachments, the fulfillments, the orders, all of the information we have about this account, and give us an account insight. This is generative AI being used to give us a summary. This is great for companies that have high turnover in employees or bringing new people on frequently, being able to jump from accounts to accounts. We have customers that can possibly visit up to 320 accounts in a single month. This allows you to get great up-to-the-minute refreshed information that just tells you what do you need to know about that account. So taking that same guest console approach that Thunder has generated and applying it to other industries such as manufacturing is an excellent way. And we'd love to talk to you about our past, present, and future concepts and how we can help your organization as well.